We're almost ready to start. Can you guys hear me okay? We're on Apple time, so we're just waiting. Me and Jack and I are waiting. We're synced. Okay, 5 o'clock. Hey, welcome to the December 7th. It's Pearl Harbor Day. We want to acknowledge all those who lost their lives in Pearl Harbor and those who served. And that's why our flags are at half-mast. And my Apple Watch is going off. I mentioned Pearl Harbor Day. And it's what I call the City of Imperial Beach City Council meeting to order. And I also would like to open tonight's meeting with thoughts for City of Chula Vista Mayor Mary Salas, who just lost her mother and will not be able to join us tonight. It's a wonderful story of Mary. If I remember correctly, her parents fell in love and then asked each other to marry each other on the pier. Did you heard that, Paloma? I think she talked about that. So Mary's been a big friend to IB, a huge friend. So we wish her the best, her and her family. City Clerk Kelly, please take the roll.
Councilmember Spriggs. Here. Councilmember Aguirre. Here. Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Fisher. Here. Mayor Dedina.
Dedina here. Communications from city staff, any? Any public comment? I know we have Erica Lowry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the pledge. Commissioner Malcolm, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Would everyone please stand with me? Face the flag and put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Malcolm. And now we have public comment, and I know we have Erica Lowry. Erica?
Mayor, City Council, incoming and outgoing, and city staff. Please take a walk around town, especially around the beach community area, and notice all the "please don't poop in my yard" signs. It may sound a little ridiculous, but this is real. There are more "please don't poop in my yard" signs than there are poop bag stations. It's actually a big thing. I ended up breaking down because there's been a couple of times when my dog's bag has broken and I was left stranded that I needed those. But then there's also a lot of places that don't have them. So I bought one for my front yard. It's just a little ceramic thing that says "Good Dog," lights up. It's actually pretty cute. But we need more of them. Can you please contact the Humane Society or whoever it is and get more stations throughout town? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And without any more public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Great. And now we have consent calendar. Any presentations at all? Okay. We have consent calendar. Any public comments on the city council on the consent calendar?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Any city council comments? Great. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve consent calendar item numbers 7A through 7F. Is there a motion?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Great. And now, do we have any city council comments, starting with Councilmember Spriggs? We have lots of time for comments, but yeah, on assignments and committees.
Right, Mr. Mayor. I can figure out. I think this is working.
No, it's not working.
Now it is. Very briefly, this was kind of a bittersweet, like this evening is bittersweet. Farewell for me for the 12 years I've served on the Metro Wastewater Commission. They had a wonderful luncheon in Coronado, honoring not only myself, but several other members who are not going to be returning for various reasons. And they said some very nice things that I deeply appreciate regarding my service, which is one of the longer terms on the Metro Wastewater Commission. So that's really all I have to report. That was a big part of my representation of this city was on that commission, and I think I will leave that commission with good vibes about Imperial Beach and how we deal with all of the complex issues going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor-elect Gary.
Thank you. I attended the International Boundary and Water Commission Minute 320 Binational Core Group. That group was established when the Minute 320 agreement was signed a few years ago. It's being restarted by both commissioners, both the commissioner from IBWC and the Mexican counterpart agency commissioner from Mexico were there. We started discussing some of the activities, work plans, and priority projects that were agreed upon in both the Minute 320, which was signed way back when, and the recent Minute 328, which was signed this summer to address not just the sewage, but solid waste, waste tires, and sediment. That'll be ongoing in the next year or so. And then yesterday, I believe, attended a closed session at Community Choice Power with nothing to report. Thank you.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 20th of November, myself and Mayor-elect Aguirre, we attended the As Wow had a community cleanup. This is actually their third cleanup in the city, and they do a phenomenal job. We focused on D4, which was amazing because the amount of bulk items that was picked up throughout the cleanup was stockpiled, and apparently they had a goal to reach X amount of pounds, and they surpassed that, and it was great. That's all I have to report. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Fisher.
Thanks, Mayor. You know, the only thing I will have to report is this morning I had the opportunity to attend the Imperial Beach Pearl Harbor Memorial event this morning on the pier. I want to thank our city staff for setting up and for all those who attended. A special thanks to our community partners from our military, the FRA, the VFW, and the American Legion for their participation. You know, it happened many years before most of us joined this world, and I can tell you the sentiment that I had is it's not good enough for us just to not forget what happened on that day and the lives that were lost and how it changed the world, but to remember those who sacrificed and who've served and who've created a country where we can be free and to have the freedoms to meet and gather together. So it was really wonderful. The weather was spectacular, and you know, it was just great to be part of. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, do you have any future attender requests? Awesome. Well, hey, I'm gonna. Thanks, everyone. Meeting's over. No, seriously. Mayor Pro Tem Fisher is going to chair the remainder of the meeting. But one thing, you're in the Dempsey Holder Safety Center. Dempsey Holder, the first surfer in IB, the first lifeguard in IB, our first Parks and Rec director. And this meeting over the last 8 room has served as a hall of international diplomacy. We've had Lieutenant Governor here. We've had folks from Baja California and done a lot of good things here. So I wanted to thank Andy and the whole city staff for our lifeguards for facilitating this room this evening. But it brings up a lot of good memories for me, and I'm sure a lot of us. So anyway, take it away.
All right, I'm going to use your mic. Thanks, Mayor. Like you said, I'll chair the rest of the meeting. You know, the only thing consistent in life is change, and that's why we're all here, because there's going to be some changes. We're grateful for Councilmember Spriggs and his contributions over the past 12 years, and also to Mayor Dedina over the past 8 years. You'd be hard-pressed to find people who love this community just as much as these two have, and their actions speak louder than their words. So I know many of you are here to congratulate them. We do have quite a list of people who have worked with the mayor and with Councilman Spriggs over the past decade in different capacities, who I think have some great remarks. First person we'll hear from is our city clerk, Jackie Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor Dedina and Councilmember Spriggs. We are here, or I am here tonight to honor the two most important people in this room, and they are your wives. Emily Young and Leah Goodwin. I hope you agree with me. So being the spouse of an elected official can't be easy, and it has to be a job all in itself. I am sure that over the past 12 years, Leah, and over the past 8 years, Emily, had many disruptive late-night phone calls and text messages from City Manager Hall. Several Wednesday night dinners all alone, and canceled vacations. Through it all, both of you handled it with the utmost dignity and grace. We thank you for letting us and the community take your husbands away from you and your families, and we gratefully return them back to you. As tokens of appreciation, Fire Chief French and Marine Safety Captain Lindquist are presenting you with bouquets of flowers. Can we please get a picture of the two of you with your husbands really quick while we have you? Just up front, and we have a photographer right here. The rest of the night is dedicated to the two of you, so we just wanted to focus on your wives for a moment. And the two of you as well. Yes. Just right there, just right there.
We'll next be pleased to hear from City Manager Hall.
Oh boy, here we go. To properly say farewell to Mayor Dedina and Councilman Spriggs is a really difficult task. We will be losing 20 years of first-class experience and dedication to our city council. I thought the best approach would be to use an anecdote. That's a big word that Councilman Spriggs taught me, along with existential and pedestrian scale lighting. That's kind of an inside joke for some of the guys who know. But some of my best memories with both the mayor and Councilman Spriggs are the days we have spent on the ski slopes. They both ski double black diamonds, but I just don't do that. I have more to live for than they do. I'm glad he's not listening, by the way. Mayor Dedina purposely chooses the most difficult track on the hill and creeps down the face like a newborn calf. Once he hits the powder, he's off like Bodie Miller. Councilman Spriggs is a very... it's a true story. Councilman Spriggs is a very elegant corduroy skier with perfect carving and impeccable timing. But once in a while, he heads down to double black diamond by mistake and mostly on his backside. So now it's time for confession. When I ski with the mayor, I try to hide from him and just ski the blue groomers. When I ski with Councilmember Spriggs, I just follow him so I can pick up his stuff. So we thought about getting a plaque, but we decided that instead of getting them a plaque, we were getting Mayor Dedina and Councilman Spriggs. We even thought maybe a watch, nice table lamp, but instead we decided to give them something they might use. So we got them both spider ski jackets and some really cool goggles from your department heads. So the ski jackets from the city and the other council members, and the goggles are from your Googles. See, we're all technology these days. And the goggles are from the department heads. But for the rest of your gifts from the city, I want to turn it over to our great Chief Administrative Officer, Erica Cortez Martinez.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, our guests from the city. You know, Mr. Spriggs, I can call you Mr. Spriggs. I know formality as council member, but I've known him for many, many years. We thought we can do amazing.
That's a problem I couldn't see before. Sorry.
These are existential things that we go through. And we really wanted to do a workshop, but we didn't have enough time to publish it, make it a workshop. But our Public Works Department did do a feasibility study and made it an official Spriggs way. Mayor Dedina, we thought about Stoke, gnarly, wiped out, but I really think, and this is not on our notes, let's get bleep things done. Dedina's Drive.
As you can see, we really enjoy these types of meetings where we laugh a lot. We do have a couple other people who are representative from Ben Waso's office. Ian Fergosi, I'm not sure if he's here yet. I think he's running late. And then another one's running late. I'm going to do my best to do this pronunciation. And Zuith Barella from Congressman Juan Vargas' office, is she here? Come on up, please.
Everyone, good evening. My name is Ansuet Varela. I'm a field representative for the Office of Congressman Juan Vargas. I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this special celebration. And our office wanted to present Mayor Dedina with a proclamation on behalf of the 51st Congressional District and the constituents. We appreciate your dedication to the city of Imperial Beach. Dated this 7th of December, 2022. So I hope you can take that if you'd like. And then we also wanted to present Councilmember Spriggs on behalf of the 51st Congressional District as well. We want to congratulate you on your 12 years of service to the residents of Imperial Beach. And we wish you many years of continued success, and also many years of continued success for you, Mayor Dedina.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Chris Johnsmeyer from Senator David Alvarez's office up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for being so late. I just arrived on a flight that was delayed from Sacramento. I'm here representing Councilmember Alvarez, who unfortunately could not be here tonight. He has a violin recital for his daughter that he did not want to miss. Thank you for inviting us here tonight. We're honored to be here, and we're honored to be able to start representing Imperial Beach. You know, Councilmember Ward has done an excellent job representing this area for the past, since he was elected, and so we're very excited to be representing Imperial Beach moving forward. We have a couple of resolutions that we would like to present. First, to the outgoing mayor, Mayor Serge Dedina. First elected mayor as Imperial Beach in 2014, re-elected in 2018, has done an amazing job representing Imperial Beach, serving during the COVID-19 pandemic. Your efforts also handling the sewage pollution for the past, since you were elected, and very appreciative of your efforts during that time. And I know from my personal role previously serving for Councilmember Moreno, your knowledge and your experience handling your issues, you've been an excellent resource when we needed you to help us. So thank you so much, Mayor Dedina. I would like to present to you with a resolution from the state. Thank you so much. I'd also like to present a resolution to Councilmember Ed Spriggs. Thank you so much for your representation of this fine city. First elected to the City Council in 2010. You've been represented Imperial Beach on numerous statewide, regional, and local boards. Your efforts with representing or helping UCSD with the Black Student Association, your efforts with improving the Black Scholarship Fund that you've done for UCSD, and previously, before you became a council member, your efforts with the Foreign Service of the U.S. agency focusing on international development. So I'd like to present you with this resolution from our office. Thank you so much for your service and wish you well with your retirement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, and Councilmember Alvarez sends his regards. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for making the superhuman work to get here. Next, we're going to invite Commissioner Dan Malcolm from the Port of San Diego up.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Fisher. Welcome, everyone, tonight. I'm Dan Malcolm, Chair of the Port Commission. And first of all, just on the record, I don't know what the city manager is talking about. I've skied with both of these guys, and they are excellent skiers. Somebody's speaking out of school. As Councilmember Spriggs said, it is a bittersweet evening. However, I don't really choose to look at it that way. I really choose to look at it as a celebration of two public servants that have donated their considerable talents to make this city better, to make the quality of life better for Imperial Beach residents. So I look at it as a celebration of all you've done for over a decade and for 8 years, Mayor, and even before you were mayor. So the Port of San Diego, we have a couple resolutions and plaques, and I could list all the wherefore and whereases that you've all earned, and each one of them is very much earned. However, I would rather just speak from my heart because I know you both, I consider you both friends, and I just want to speak to what it takes to be a public servant, to dedicate your time and your talents and sacrifice, because it is a sacrifice to be a public servant. The quality of the people that we have here in Imperial Beach, it continues to blow my mind. Mayor Dedina, I look at you, you are truly a Renaissance man, and I really mean that. You have a love of the ocean, a love that you and I both share. You are a published author. You're an academic. You got a doctorate. You are a family man. You're a surfer. You're a swimmer. Serge blows by me in the swimming lanes all the time. I just see his bubbles go by me. More than anything, you're an environmental warrior, and you're a warrior for this city, and you prove that again and again and again. Councilman Spriggs, you also have an incredible resume. You got your Juris Doctorate from New York University. You then you worked for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Then you had a 22-year career in the Foreign Service. You were Director of USAID. You were Vice Chancellor of UCSD. And then, after all of that, you go and you serve 12 years as a city councilman. And you know what? He's not done. Neither one of them is done. Serge is going to go back to being an environmentalist, doing major things for our region. Ed is going on to be the UCSD Alumni Black Scholarship Fund Director. And there is a message in that. Servants serve. Doesn't matter what the role is, they go on and they continue to serve their community because that's their makeup, and that's the makeup of these two men. Now, just a couple of highlights, and for the record, I was in a lot of meetings, our transboundary flows here in Imperial Beach that have plagued the city for decades. And I was in stakeholders meetings, I was in EPA meetings, I was in a lot of meetings you all weren't in. And the reason why I say that is because Serge Dedina was in those meetings. He led the charge. He fought like a lion. He fought like a warrior. He spoke truth to power to EPA directors, to people from Washington, D.C. He was the one, the catalyst that started the litigation against the United States government for a violation of the Clean Water Act and violation of the Resources Conservation Recovery Act. If not for the efforts of Serge Dedina, we don't have $300 million in the USMCA right now, and we're not on our way to a solution. Mayor, you did all that, and I am grateful, and this entire city is grateful. Ed, you also have done incredible things in our community. Your background, what you've done, you put us on the path to financial security. Our city has never been more financially secure. I remember back in the days, Mayor Rose, when you and I were there, when, man, it was crazy balancing that budget. You have paved the way for tens of millions of dollars in investment. I look around the city now, you both have. Pier South Hotel, Sudbury Development, one of the most celebrated developers in this county coming to this city and doing a development along Palm Avenue. Civitas, right across the street with the Brigantine Restaurant. You set the stage for that to happen. That's what good public servants do, is they set the stage and they welcome people to the community. And I'll tell you, Ed and I would regularly get together, and Ed would hold my feet to the fire as the port commissioner to make sure that I was doing my job to be, bringing back benefit to this community. So thank you for doing that, Ed, and I've really valued our relationship. It takes a lot to be a public servant. I think we all should have gratitude in our heart for what they've done. And I want to close, and Serge, I ran into your son on the way in, Daniel, and I told him he should be proud of you tonight. Now, back 22 years ago when I was on the council, I knew your father, Michelle. He was a regular fixture at the council meetings, and I would run into him frequently around town. And every time I ran into him, he would tell me how proud he was of you. And that is a pride that is well-deserved, Serge. Tomorrow, you may know that we have a pool opening in Imperial Beach. That was one of Michelle's passions. That was a passion shared by his son. And again, that legacy doesn't happen if you aren't mayor. It doesn't happen. I want to thank you both from a very grateful city. You both have been excellent, outstanding public servants. You're both role models to what a public servant should be, and I just want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Malcolm. We'd like to invite Mayor Richard Bailey from the City of Coronado up.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's service right there. That is service. Mayor Dedina, Council, it's my honor to be here tonight representing the City of Coronado to recognize and thank Mayor Dedina and Councilmember Spriggs for the service that you provided to not just the city of Imperial Beach, but also to our region. Before I do have to say that I think there's no greater sign of a city's success than when you see people choosing to move into the city and to invest into the city. And I have to be honest, we're losing a lot of Coronado residents to the city of Imperial Beach because of your leadership. So I think that really shows. To Councilmember Spriggs, I know many in this room, or not all in this room, are familiar with his great work here with the city of Imperial Beach. But what many might not be as familiar with is the great work he's done on literally dozens of committees and commissions and various bodies throughout the region and throughout the state. I haven't had the good fortune of serving regularly with Mr. Spriggs, but I tell you this, he has a phenomenal reputation of being thoughtful and being civil, and that's the exact type of reputation that we need throughout our politics today. So on behalf of the city of Coronado, I do want to recognize today as Ed Spriggs Day throughout our city. Mayor Dedina, you know it's a special day when the two of us are wearing suits and ties. As you can tell from these pictures, it's not too often that you'll catch Mayor Dedina in a tie. And I think that in many ways just kind of speaks to the type of leader you are. I mean, there's not a book on how to become a mayor, and there's not a rule book, there's not a manual, and you really kind of have to invent the role for yourself. And it's been an honor to work with you over the past several years. And when I think about our time together, I think about our numerous trips to Washington, D.C., all the times we collaborated on various issues, whether it's State Route 75, whether it's the sewage issue, just overall better economic development for your city, for housing policies. And one thing just really shines through time and time again is your passion. It's just your passion for what you do, your passion not just for our region, not just for clean water, but for the residents of Imperial Beach. And that's what you need in a good leader. That's what you need in a mayor. And I really think you wrote the book for yourself on that. So congratulations, Mayor Dedina, on a job well done. I want to miss you. I want to really miss you. And it's funny, as you work with someone over the years, first you think of them as professional colleagues, and then you think of them, acquaintances. I know this guy maybe on a personal level, and then before you know it, they become your friend. And I consider you a friend, Mayor Dedina, and honored to know you and honored to have worked with you.
We'd like to invite Colleen Clemenson from Sandag. She's the Director of Planning and Land Use.
Good evening, and it's my true, absolute honor and pleasure to be here to honor two amazing public servants who have gone above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to serving on the regional body at Sandag. And I think it's really terrific when anytime we would call upon Imperial Beach to be at a meeting, to be somewhere, to lead a committee, you were there and you were prepared and you read material, and it's really just been amazing. And so Councilmember Spriggs was always there with a positive attitude, and even coming from this small town, to be able to think about the big picture in the region and what really matters. And on my way here, I was thinking about how unique Imperial Beach is, and I was wondering, why would you guys care so much to serve on the Sandag board? And even though it's a small city, you have aspects of everything that the region experiences: a border, the coast, working people, a great destination. It has all of the things that are so important, that regardless of size, and I think that's what gives you such credibility when you come to the Sandag Board of Directors. Mayor Dedina, just your service on the Borders Committee, and as we think about our region in terms of borders, it's not just the U.S.-Mexican border. It's our borders with the 17 tribal nations. It's our borders with the military bases. It's our borders with Orange County and Imperial County, Riverside County. All of those are borders, and so important how we think about the region and how we connect with our borders. And your service of how many meetings, I think my staff indicated you presided over just dozens of meetings. You co-hosted the tribal summit that was held. And just personally, when I think about, there have always been challenging times in public service, and I've been honored to be in public service for just over 25 years. You go through some rough times, and when Sandag is in the news and just the punching bag for everything. And I remember one time, Mayor, you said, you know, I just really want to thank the staff for working so hard. And don't get caught up in all of this. It's just noise. Just keep doing the good work. So I just really want to thank you for that. You've been an inspiration to all of the Sandag staff, and on behalf of the staff, I just really want to thank you for that and present you with this recognition. And same to Councilmember Spriggs. Thank you so much for your service. We truly appreciate it, and wish you both the very best in your future endeavors, And don't be a stranger to Sandag. You can always come back.
Thank you. I'd like to invite up Karen Burns, the CEO of San Diego Community Power.
Good evening. I've had the honor and pleasure of working with Mayor Serge Dedina over the past year as we built what is now the second largest community choice aggregator in California. Mayor Dedina, you have been a lifelong advocate for healthy, sustainable communities and for protecting our most precious resource, our natural environment. We have learned so much from you, and you have been an inspiration to so many regional leaders. You have walked the walk your entire political career, and very often in flip-flops. As a board member of San Diego Community Power, you helped guide the formation and growth of our organization with your knowledge of managing nonprofits, financial acumen, and your visionary thinking. I will always remember how during our strategic planning sessions, you would always push us to think bigger, have more vision, think broadly, think out of the box. And so now today, when our team is working together, working through a complex challenge or solving a problem, we often remind ourselves that we have to channel our inner Serge. We literally do that. We channel Serge so that we can solve a problem and we can think bigger and beyond ourselves. You've already been presented our proclamation at our last board meeting, and it turns out it was a great idea that you accidentally took it home because you have a lot to carry home right now. We will miss you. However, we are also looking forward to welcoming our new board member from Imperial Beach, whoever that may be. And I am personally looking forward to building more and deeper relationships here in Imperial Beach. Thank you all, and thank you again for everything you have done for IB and SDCP, and for all that you will do in your next adventure to make our world a better place now and for future generations. Thank you.
We'd also like to ask Sally Spinner from U.S. Secretary of Foreign Affairs Office, from Commissioner Maria Ginner's office from the IBWC.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Hiner was unable to be here today, but she prepared a letter for both of you congratulating you on your service, and I wanted to share some brief excerpts from the letters that she prepared. Dear Councilmember Spriggs, thank you for your service to the City of Imperial Beach and to the greater San Diego community. In particular, I would like to express my appreciation for your service as a volunteer board member several years ago on the US IBWC Citizens Forum. In that capacity, you served as an advocate for improving the sanitation conditions along the border and in the Tijuana River Valley. The City of Imperial Beach is better because of your service to this community. And her letter to Mayor Dedina. I can state without reservation that your tireless efforts to protect San Diego County beaches from pollution have made an impact. Due to the advocacy of you and other leaders, the U.S. government appropriated $300 million to improve border sanitation infrastructure. With this funding, we expect a 50% reduction in the number of days of transboundary flow and an 80% reduction in the amount of sewage discharged to the Pacific Ocean in Mexico at San Antonio de los Buenos. In addition, EPA and US IBWC recently released an EIS in which we identified our preferred alternative as the comprehensive solution you and others have been seeking for additional improvements. You accomplished many things as mayor to improve the community of Imperial Beach. We will soon see the clean beaches that will surely be your greatest legacy. Enclosed, now the fun part, is a commission coin for both of you. Just show this to people. If you can see the pretty shiny coin, not a big thing to hang on your wall. And on behalf of Commissioner Hiner, I'm happy to present these to you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Ed.
Fellow FSO.
Yes.
We'd like to recognize the attendance of Dr. Moises Aguirre, who's the superintendent for the Sweetwater School District, and if he feels inclined to come on up and offer a few words.
Thank you. And I was going to cede my time to one of our trustees who's here this evening, Trustee Paula Hall. But I just wanted to express my gratitude to Mayor Dedina and the entire city of Imperial Beach. It's been a great partnership and looking forward to continuing that. And so I'll cede my time to Trustee Hall. Thank you.
Well, we have Paula Hall, who's trustee from the Sweetwater School District with us. So,
thank you. Can you hear me? All right. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Dedina, council members, Mayor-elect Aguirre. You know, we joke that our superintendent and Mayor-elect Paloma Aguirre are cousins, but they're really not. No relation, but we joke about it often. And Mr. Hall, I'm very glad to see you. It was really, I just want to say that when I ran for the school board back in 2014, I ran into Serge, who was running at the same time to be the mayor of IB, and I didn't know him. I really knew very little about anyone on our city council at the time. I was more invested in our schools here, and I want to say that I'm very grateful that our mayor and our council members have really shown over these years, these past 8 years, that they are invested as well to support our schools, because without, if you're not going to be supporting your neighborhood school and really active in your neighborhood school, then you've written off the future of your city. So I really want to say thank you for that, and I am very glad that when I came to the city council meeting back in 2015 to let you know that our district was planning to build a new pool at our high school to replace the one that had been built back in 1956 or 1960, that we were really going to do good work and make sure that that project was, useful for our whole community. And that's really what built, I think, the partnership to invest. We've invested over $20 million in that pool complex. And we want to thank the mayor for his work in advocating for the $2 million that came from the state for that pool complex as well. And I look forward to everyone meeting up in that and going swimming those like you said, swimming the lanes and watching people pass you, because I hope to get there myself. But I just want you to know that we really appreciate everything you do for our schools and our students. Will only be, really, we'll have what somebody told me at our board, at our audit subcommittee meeting on Monday night. We had our district audit finance subcommittee, and our auditor told us it was incredible, the work that has been done at our district over the past 4 years to really put ourselves on solid financial ground and really to make that incredible work possible really takes all of us together. So I just want to say thank you all, and I look forward to more good things coming in the future.
We'd like to invite Trustee Marco Amaral, who's the chair of the Board of Trustees for the South Bay Union School District, up.
Muy buenas tardes. Muchas, pero muchas felicidades, concejal Spriggs, alcalde Dedina. I'm going off the script to my superintendent, as is regular for me. I started off speaking in Spanish because I come from a family that has been living here in Imperial Beach and in the Nestor community since the early 1960s. And at that time, so tells me my father and my aunts and uncles, it was frowned upon to speak Spanish in many of our communities. It was difficult to be boldly who you are. For many of us in the Mexican, Latinx, and I would imagine other historically marginalized communities, up until recently, that was still very true. I remember the first time I met Mayor Dedina. He came to one of my classes. I graduated from Mar Vista High in 2009, and he was talking about this organization that you might know, Wild Coast. No, I don't know if you've heard about it. But I was really intrigued by its other name, Costa Salvaje. And I remember driving down through Baja and seeing murals of Costa Salvaje. In fact, up until a couple years ago, I went down to Oaxaca to help release some turtles, and there was Costa Salvaje as well. When I graduated from Mar Vista High in 2009, at that time, I don't know if it's still true, but at that time, I had broken the high school's community service record. I got something over 1,100 community service hours. It's 30 to graduate. A lot of those hours, I would say a good 300, 400 plus of those hours, were because of Mayor Dedina and his encouragement and his work with Costa Salvaje. It was there, in fact, where I owe really the foundations of my activist work that has led me to the person I am today. So muchas gracias. Muchas, pero muchas gracias to these two individuals who, for many of our communities, they really created the modern foundations for a more equitable and justice-oriented community. It's these two right here that allowed people like myself to start today speaking to you in Spanish. It's their work. And now I'll get to our official statement. It's my honor to speak on behalf of the South Bay Union School District in your recognition, Councilmember Spriggs, Mayor Dedina. Dear Imperial Beach City Council, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the South Bay Union School District, we would like to recognize and thank Mayor Serge Dedina and Councilmember Ed Spriggs as they depart their offices. As a public school district, South Bay relies on the partnership of local elected officials, and we have been fortunate to be able to work with Serge and Ed over the last decade. Mayor Dedina led several important initiatives to support the South Bay community. His dedicated work on environmental issues, particularly around water quality concerns, encouraged a nationwide focus on border pollution. His strong advocacy for physical fitness ensured that our community had safe roads for biking, access to a fitness facility, and shared use of a community access pool. Serge's leadership has made Imperial Beach a healthier community for our students, staff, and families. Councilmember Spriggs' service on various boards and organizations ensured that Imperial Beach had representation in state and regional issues. His support of the environment and local businesses helped our small community grow and thrive. Please share our gratitude with me as a public school institution in recognition of Serge and Ish and Ed. We wish you them the best in their future endeavors. Muchas gracias. And I don't have a plaque. We don't have a plaque. Fund public education. We'll get plaques after that.
We'd like to invite Catherine Hill from Cal Cities up. There she is.
Perfect, thank you. Perfect, yeah, sure. Thank you so much. I am so pleased to be here tonight. This is a fun one. This is really, really fun one, a bittersweet one, of course. I'm here on behalf of the League of California Cities, which is an association of all 482 cities throughout the state, and I'm privileged to represent San Diego County and Imperial County at the League. These two gentlemen here tonight are exemplary examples of what a public servant is and what a local government representative is. I was reading a bit about Mayor Dedina, whom I know. We've come across paths with each other over the last 8 years, but I haven't worked with him directly through the League. But he has had his hand in much of what the League has done over the last few years. It was his tenacity, it was his hard work, and it was his never giving up to solve some of the border pollution issues that got everyone's attention many years ago. And it got the League's attention in 2018, where with his assistance and with Councilmember Spriggs' assistance and with that phenomenal city manager over there as well, Coronado and City of San Diego helped as well. We were able to pass a resolution, and it wasn't no small feat because resolutions at the League's annual conference have to have statewide significance. So why were we concerned about transborder pollution in the southernmost part of the state where it just impacted San Diego County, Imperial County, of course, Texas, Arizona as well, and Mexico. But they all did their homework, and we were able to pass that resolution, which gave not only San Diego County's voice in supporting federal and state funding, but the entire state of California. And we also brought it to the attention of our legislators, and they as well worked on funding throughout the budget. So we have Mayor Dedina to thank for that, for just being tenacious and keeping his focus on what needed to be done. So on behalf of the League of California Cities and the San Diego County Division, I'd like to give you a bottle of wine. Now, this one is really close to heart because Ed Spriggs has been a staple at the San Diego County Division for as many years as he's been an elected official. So this is sad. We're still going to have lunch every now and again. Ed has served on our Environmental Quality Policy Committee. Ed has served on our Housing, Community, and Economic Development Policy Committee. He has vice-chaired that. He has also chaired that. Ed has been a Board of Directors member. Ed has been a stalwart attendee at every single San Diego County Division meeting, always engaged, always bringing up great ideas for topics, and always participating and encouraging his colleagues to participate. But I think Ed's greatest achievement with Cal Cities has been that he has been the force behind the Cal Cities Coastal Cities Issues Working Group. We had a group that was formed, basically all 60, right? 60-some? 61 cities that are coastal cities throughout the state. And it went dormant for a few years. Ed Spriggs appeared on the scene and wondered why and was not pleased. And so it was regrouped. And not only in the last few years, since 2016, have they gotten stronger, but they have a wonderful collaborative working relationship, not always successful, but wonderful collaborative and working relationship with the Coastal Commission. And when everybody from Cal City sees Ed Spriggs, the 3 words that come out of their mouth are sea level rise, because that has been his mantra for the last several years. And that has also been brought into the Cal Cities platform as well. And so we owe, all the cities at Cal Cities owe a debt to Ed for his work over the last 12 years. So for him, since he was one of the founding members of the Coastal Issues Working Group, I have a little globe for him so he can remember the impact that he's made, not only in San Diego County, but the state, dare I say, maybe the world. Yeah.
You've been trying for over a month to get that to him. Because she's not going to tell you the story. She ordered it. She ordered one, and it came broken, and she ordered another one, and so when she gave it to him the first time, it was an empty box. Sorry, I just had to tattletale on Kat because it was funny.
Next, we'd like to invite Brian Barretto, who's the External Affairs Manager for Cal Water. There he is.
I'm short. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Brian Barretto, California American Water, External Affairs. I am here to celebrate and honor Mayor Dedina and Councilmember Spriggs. I don't know that there's any much more to say. But I would like to share a very short story, if I may. I started coming down here in 2008 when I was hired, and I think what I want to share really exemplifies their leadership, what Imperial Beach is about. And now, 12 years later, I consider Imperial Beach my second home. For those of you that don't know me, I think I am their constituent that has the longest commute. I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm down here about 10 days out of the month, and I thoroughly enjoy every moment that I'm down here. So on behalf of California American Water, I do have some certificates from our president, Kevin Tilden, for your recognition on your retirement, for your dedication and commitment to the community, and also to your dedication and commitment to California American Water. You helped us move from 10th and Cherry, from a little tiny house where our guys had to park our utility trucks using mirrors, pulling the mirrors in, and I remember the mayor came over and you were absolutely amazed as to how they got them into the parking spots. But now we're at 10th and Palm Avenue, which is part of the Palm Avenue Master Plan, and we really appreciate your commitment. Thank you very much. I will miss you. I consider you my friend as a colleague as well, and I look forward to seeing you outside of your service. Thank you. Somebody told me I'm wrong. You missed the quote. I got it.
We'd like to invite our former Imperial Beach librarian, June Frost, up. I think she'd like to say a couple words. No? There she is. That's the entrance of the night.
I miss you guys.
So hi, I'm June Engelfrost. I'm the retired branch manager from the library. Very important that you understand the word retired, because the best thing about being retired is I can say whatever I want to say now, and probably maybe not get away with it, but it definitely comes directly from the heart. So I was here for 13 years, and during that 13 years, I always said the hardest part of my job was living in Imperial Beach, was technically working for Imperial Beach, but being paid by the county. So there was always a little bit of something going on or misunderstandings or whatever. What I always knew that I had, and I always took pride in that, is that I always had the council. I always had the public safety. It didn't matter what was going on in the higher levels. On my level, working at that library, you guys all believed in the library, and you did everything you could to support it. Serge, I think out of every council member that's ever been here, you hold the record for attending the most programs at our library. Every time I saw you, said, "But June, I haven't done a story time for a while. Can we do a story time?" And even though it was in the middle of the day or in the evening, you always found the time to show up. Maybe you couldn't stay long, but you always showed up. And the beauty of it was when you did the story times, I looked through my pictures the other night, I found 4. You're bilingual. And you did the story times in Spanish and in English, so that you have no idea what that means for a child to see the mayor speaking in Spanish and, promoting literacy in English. It was wonderful. And you were just so, so wonderful. I don't know, but I think your favorite event was Santa Comes to IB. You were always there, and you always took pictures of the kids, and you always talked to all of them. And you weren't able to make the day programs, but you were pretty much at every single one of the night programs that we invited you to. And if you couldn't make it, Leah was there. And she'd always say, "Oh, Ed couldn't make it," but she was always there. You also have a very distinct place in my heart, because there was a few times I pulled you aside and asked you for advice. And you were always very honest about it, and very caring about it, and very understanding, and I really appreciated you taking the time to talk to me. My husband and I are very grateful that you guys came to our wedding too, by the way. Anyway, so this comes from the heart when I say, A, I really miss you guys, and B, I want to thank you so much for that support. You have no idea how much that meant, knowing that the council, Jackie, I guess say hi to you in the back there, and I know Supervisor Cox is over there. It means a lot to me that you always supported the library, always came to our programs when you could. It means a lot. So I just want to thank you all. And anyway, thank you.
We'd like to invite our former mayor, Bixler, if he's here, Mike Bixler. I think he has a couple words he'd like to say. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Dedina, Ed, Mr. Hall, staff, members of the public. It's a real pleasure to come and join you tonight on the occasion of your relative employment. Given that I don't give many speeches anymore, I did prepare some remarks. And I'm sure that Mayor Dedina won't shut me down this time, right? But you know something? This is not the time for that. That's about my primary joke of the evening. Serge, you've done wonderful things for the city before you were in office, as did you, Ed. And in your 8 years of service, both of you have furthered the public interest, the love of the earth, the sea, the beach, and we're all, as was stated, we're all grateful for the heart and the vision and the effort that you've clearly made. So I want to again thank you personally, and I have a small note, personal note for you, Mayor.
we're getting toward the end of the list of the VIP speakers. We just wanted to recognize another former mayor from Imperial Beach, Diane Rose, is here with us. And also, former mayor of Chula Vista, Cheryl Cox, is in the back there. And we'd like to invite former supervisor Greg Cox up for some comments.
Wow, what a great group of people. And we're all here to honor two individuals that have given so much to this community of Imperial Beach. This Christmas season, I kind of feel like I'm the ghost of politicians past. And Ed, you and Serge are very soon going to be joining that group. I had a chance to be on the Board of Supervisors for a good number of years, and I have to tell you, I worked very closely with both Serge and Ed on numerous issues. I like to think back, obviously, Serge is, well, I don't know whether this is a proper way to say it, but is synonymous with border sewage. But it was his leadership, really, that has made such a big difference in the fact that things are finally coming together. And Serge, I like to think that maybe back, I think it was 2018, we were able to put together a meeting back at the Eisenhower office building, the old executive office building, where we had Serge as the mayor of Imperial Beach, Richard Bailey, the mayor of Coronado, Kevin Faulkner, the mayor of San Diego, Gary Bonelli, who at that time was the chair of the Port Commission, and obviously probably was, I think, the real star of that meeting, because not only was he there representing the Port Commission, but as a former commanding officer of the SEAL training facility, he could talk firsthand about some of the consequences of border sewage coming across and the training of our military personnel at the new facility that's just up the coast here. And, I think it was not too long after that we had the meeting, and we had the assistant director of the EPA, we had the assistant intergovernmental affairs director, the chair of the Council on Environmental Quality, somebody from the Office of Management and Budget. Timing is everything in politics. And I think the fact that the NAFTA was being replaced by what was now the USMCA, US-Mexico border, Canada border agreement, I think that directly led to the first large chunk of money, $300 million, that was earmarked for improving the border situation. And I know through Serge's involvement in the council, there's more money that has been committed not only by the state, but hopefully commitments that have been made at least by the federal government. And Serge, I mean, you've just done a tremendous job in raising that level of consciousness. I mean, you see the fact that you can get 60 minutes out here to cover something like this is really important, and I think, again, has elevated the importance of that issue. Ed, I really enjoyed working with you on coastal issues. I was a part of the Coastal Counties Caucus, which we had some joint meetings with the Coastal Cities Caucus that Ed was chairing, and I know you've been so involved in the League of California Cities in your tenure on this City Council, and I know my wife wanted me to make sure that I thanked you for your involvement and leadership with the Project Pure Water that is making some progress. I know it's got a few bumps along the way, but it's still coming along very nicely. And I was talking with Brian Bilbray just yesterday, and he was going to try to be here tonight and just texted me to let me know that he wasn't going to be here, but he wanted me to say thank you for your leadership on coastal issues, also in addition to Serge. You guys have truly made a difference. I think the finest thing anybody can say about their life when they look back on it is, did you make a difference? Well, let me tell you, these two gentlemen, Serge and Ed, have made a big difference for the city of Imperial Beach. Imperial Beach is a better city because of their commitment and their service on this city council. And I just wanted to say, without any proclamations, certificates, or anything else other than just my sincere thank you for a job well done and I wish you the best in your retirement. I know you're going to stay involved in some level or some activity in helping Imperial Beach to continue to make the progress that it's been making over the years. So congratulations to you two, to the City Council, and to your very fine city manager. Thank you.
We have some certificates of recognition for Mayor Dedina and Councilmember Spriggs that has been sent down from Assemblyman Chris Ward, and I think that, are they over there, Erica? Okay, so we have them, we'll give them to them later. Then we do have some ability for some public comment. Erica Lowry, there she is.
You think you would get away that easy without hearing from me again? No. There are so many different levels of leadership, but the most important is leading by example, and you both, Mayor Dedina and Councilman Spriggs, have done that. And I personally say thank you. But this is for Ed. You may not know this, but I consider you my mentor. You have led so much, and by teaching and letting others learn from you. Thank you. I'm going to cry. I'm trying not to cry. Thank you for your years of grace, your years of service, and your years of teaching and leadership. IB would be lost without you. You have taught a whole new generation of leaders just by your own example, me being one. I know this isn't farewell. This is only a see you later. But you won't have to deal with me as much. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor Dedina.
If there's anybody in the audience who would like to say a few words, City Manager Hall has given me the opportunity to kind of open up you. We don't want to have everybody, but if you have something that you feel deep-heartedly about, now's the time. Okay. Say something. Thanks, Jackson. Would you come on up, please?
I'll be really short. My name is Jackson. I'm with a nonprofit. We've been here for many years, and we were honored by the council years ago. But we have the powwow here every year, 20th year. And Serge, you've been such a good friend to Indian country. You really have. He spoke the last powwow, and I don't know where his knowledge from Indian stuff and the spirit, and everybody's going, who is this guy speaking, Mayor? You know, and anyway, you got a good heart from Indian country, you know, from our youth programs. We thank you from our heart. Miigwech, thank you.
And then the last speaker slip I have is Leah Goodwin. Come on up.
My husband seemed surprised that I would have something to say. At the end of 12 years. Hi, friends. Thank you for allowing me just a minute to offer a little celebration of my beloved. 12 years ago feels like only yesterday. You see, Ed and I were walking the estuary and Michael Carey got in our way. He asked Ed if he was ready to serve the city of IB, and well, the rest of this journey is history. Community leaders like Michelle Dedina, the McCoys, Bob Miller, Diane Rose, and Maida Winner stepped in, and Ed was on his way to his first win. Ed and I were actually dating at that time, and I thought this could put our relationship to the test, and a project that would make us work together or not could see if we could do our best. Well, now here we are, about to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary, and serving Imperial Beach is a core part of our story. Watching Ed's dedication to the work of the city, from 9th and Palm to fireworks to parks, the library, senior center, and a dedication to a strategic plan. He read every report and every budget line, taking his role to heart and wanting to make sure our town would be fine. Over these years, his roles impacted community beyond the borders, taking a lead role in the Coastal Cities Group for the state and serving on the Finance Committee for JPA. The chance was there for change, and Ed's voice made a way. When things got tricky in community, Ed always stood for civility and unity. I hope that his legacy will not go away. I know that he will keep fighting for a business-friendly environment and, of course, lighting. And I'm sure you will hear his voice if the city goes astray. Yes, we all know that Ed has always had a lot to say. He is a voice of reason, a voice of truth. His next step to help his alma mater, UCSD, support the enrollment and change the experience for African American youth. I'm so very proud of Ed. He is really a treasure. His love for this city and us in Imperial Beach is really just too large to measure. I love you, baby.
I don't think I've seen a council speaker hug a council member right after that, so it's a first for me, but very appropriate. Mayor-elect Aguirre, would you like to offer some comments? Time is yours.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Leah, by the way. That was so well done. I'll start with my colleague, Councilmember at Spriggs. So before our 4 years on council, we started working on the water issue many, many years ago when we served together on the IB Citizens Forum. I remember that. But if Mayor Dedina is the strongest voice in the room, I would say your voice is the voice of reason and the voice of wisdom. It's been such a pleasure to work with you on an array of issues. We've worked together on so many things, but you've represented us so well on the California League of Cities, Coastal Cities Working Group. I saw that firsthand in that Coastal Commission meeting when all your colleagues, honored you and the work that you did and the work that your legacy is going to leave in that working group. But I would say that you don't really get to know someone until, you've been in it. And I would say that when we were in it was when we were together on the COVID task force, but more importantly, when we worked together on the ad hoc committee. You bring many years of experience to the council. I not that many. It's my first term in council, but I would dare say that that is some of the hardest work that anybody ever did, and we did that together. And I really got to know you, and I really got to see your values, where your values stood, and how brave you were. And you were really an inspiration in a very turbulent time for us to do that work. So I'm very grateful, and I just want to recognize that in front of everybody because it wasn't easy, but we did it, and we did it together. So thank you. Thank you. And I'll switch over to Mayor Dedina, who I personally, I'll confess something.
when I first met you, you were putting up signs on the sand that read "Clean Water Now." And I was like, there goes that guy that I don't like, because he always drops in on me on the waves at the pier. He always dropped in on everybody's waves. But I was intrigued, and I said, what does that mean? So I approached him, and I said, well, what are those signs about? What is that? And I remember you said, don't you know you surf the most polluted beach in America? And I didn't. That's how ironic it was. I had been surfing for years without knowing it. And I really credit you for my career in conservation. It was because of your encouragement that I started volunteering at Wild Coast, and that, you know, all those years together, we fought cross-border pollution, and it wasn't easy. But I think that something that we can all really recognize and give you credit for is the formidable coalition that you put together in the entire county. You were always the strongest advocate, and you got the port, you got the city of Chula Vista, you got the city of San Diego, you got the entire community behind you to get that money secured that we needed so desperately, the $300 million. And I remember our trips to DC. Remember when we met with, I don't know, the chair of some budget subcommittee, and they hosted us in some mop room, like second-class citizens, to tell us there was nothing that we could do. Those were bleak moments, but you held on to hope, and you said, we're going to get this done. And you did. And we're here because of that leadership, because of you. And you, I'm sure, like many others in our community, you know, younger folk, have been a source of inspiration. You inspired me to run. Honestly, like that's one of the reasons I ran. I saw if he can do it, why can't I? So I'm just incredibly grateful for your mentorship, your leadership to this community, to both of you. How much better this community is, right? We now have a Parks and Rec department. We have a housing department. We have outdoor gyms. We have a swimming pool. I mean, you are leaving the city in the best possible shape for us to continue this leadership. So thank you both from the bottom of my heart. And I hope that you'll take my calls when I call you and I know what to do. So thank you very much.
I'm going to try to be brief. My story is somewhat similar. Initially, both of you ultimately empowered me and inspired me to even pursue a career in politics. And lo and behold, I'm sitting here amongst you guys. And it all began during COVID, during the mayor's task force, and when I was doing outreach with one of the groups, and individuals were suggesting that I pursue and go down that path. And I was like, no way, not with somebody with the background that I have. I'm like, no way. And lo and behold, it got, you know, I was bombarded with it enough, and I was doing a lot of the outreach, reaching out to a lot of members of the community that didn't have anybody from the city reaching out to them before. And that kind of empowered me. And then being around you guys and seeing how compassionate you guys are about this beautiful city, it just rubbed off. And I'm like, you know what, I love this place so much. What do I need to do on my watch? So your guys' watch is over. Now it's my watch. And ultimately, hopefully, we can do some good on our watch and empower the next generation to come on board and try to make a difference on their watch as well. So I appreciate both you guys. Thank you so much.
I'm probably going to be a little bit longer than Matthew was. You know, growing up in Imperial Beach, I've been here since 1976. You know, as a resident of San Diego County, you don't ever get used to championship teams. You know, we've come close, we've had some great runs, but we've never been able to seem to put it together. You know, when I joined the city council back in 2020, I didn't realize we had a championship team. The reality of today is starting to hit me as I've been sitting here and realizing what these two men who kind of flank me right now have done for the city over the past 12 and 8 years. I hope that our residents really realize the impact that they've had. I feel like I've been on the practice squad for a couple years now, and being the mayor pro temp this year, I've had an opportunity to fill in for the mayor, and I thought I've done an adequate job of running meetings. But the bigger picture has really hit me of the impact that's needed, the work that you have to put in, the continued dedication that is required for a leader. And all the while doing this, they've been humble. Our mayor is outspoken, but he doesn't like all the accolades that come. He just likes getting stuff done. That's what he's always been about. Things that have been mentioned, I made some notes. Hard work, civility, tenacity. Those are leadership qualities. And going forward, this team now has a new quarterback, a few new players, and it's going to be important that we don't forget what has been done and carry on. Momentum is hard for any team to get. This team has an amazing amount of momentum, and I think that going forward, there's a huge responsibility that we have serving this community to not only take what we've been given and the path that's been shown and the ruts that are in the road from where the stagecoach has gone, but to grow that and to make it even better. And I'm so grateful for Mayor Dedina and Councilman Spriggs. I consider them friends. I know if there's any time that there's hard paths going ahead that I can pick up the phone and call for advice. It's hard to have people who you trust and have confidence, knowing that they've walked the walk, they've talked the talk. And so, I know all the accolades are there. I don't want to recount, the last 8 years of everything, but I think that the look and the focus for me is going forward and what's required, what's needed for our community. And, the impact that we can have not only in our community, but from, the countywide, statewide. Councilman Spriggs, it's been mentioned, your leadership at the Cal Cities, chairing the Coastal Cities Committee for years. When I was up there in September for their convention, they made mention of it, and boy, you would think that you'd left this world. They spoke so highly of you, and you could feel the dent that was made, and that's where the impact happens. And that's, from a small town kid here who now has some leadership and have the reins and have the responsibility. It's humbling to me. And I'm going to miss him greatly, and I'm hopeful for the future. And I think that the pattern has been set. The example is absolutely there, and we have a great responsibility. But thanks to Councilman Spriggs and Mayor Dedina for their leadership, for their love of the city that's been unconditional, unwavering, and I guess that's about it. So. Now, if it wasn't enough, there wasn't a whole stack of things behind the mayor that he's going to have to figure out how to lug home. We do have one more thing to present him to, and this is great. If you've ever watched the mayor in action during a city council meeting, there's one thing he really likes to do. Number one, start the meeting on time. Absolutely starts on time. And number two, he likes ending the meeting. Absolutely. So we have for you your own gavel. Now, I just want to make sure that you, for those who can't really see it up close and personal, the gavel actually can come off the placard. It's not screwed down. There's just some little tabs that hold it. So I would suggest not using that when you want your dinner or anything like that. Use it, for tenderizing meat or whatever you have to. But you be judicious in how you use it around the home. With that being said, we'd like to invite Councilman Spriggs for some remarks. Your choice.
No, you think I should? My wife told me what to do. Well, after 10 years, I know who to look to for advice as to whether to stand at the podium or speak when I'm sitting down. I had prepared about 6 pages of remarks, Mayor Dedina. But I've edited it down to one. And I'm really at a loss for words because of you all showing up and giving Serge and I this kind of a send-off. It's very, very heartwarming. You know, we don't do this and haven't done this, and I know Serge quite well over the years. We aren't doing this and haven't done it for any praise or accolades or anything like that. So for both of us, this is kind of, in a way, a little bit embarrassing, you know. But I'm very appreciative and grateful. It has really been an honor to serve this community these 12 years, and even before, when I was chair of the Tidelands Advisory Committee and various other volunteer work for the committee before that. I want to thank, if I can read my notes, I want to thank the current council. This has been a team. We don't always agree. We're not supposed to. We're each elected by independent thinking voters, and we come to the council with different perspectives, different backgrounds, different skills, but we all come together around one thing, and that is what's best for Imperial Beach. And that has always driven this council, and I've served with different combinations of council members over the years, and I can say that that has been the primary unifying factor on this city council, unlike a lot of other city councils that get distracted with personalities, politics, and other factors that aren't necessarily germane to the people that they're supposed to serve. That's not the case here in Imperial Beach. I want to thank Mayor Dedina, really, for your stalwart leadership on the key issues that affect the existential issues that affect our community and our people. You have made a historic impact. It's been an extremely long and frustrating path. We have seen and witnessed those struggles and some of your frustrations, and it's not over. And we are bequeathing to our successors that the struggle continues to fix the cross-border pollution issue. It's not going to happen by itself. There's funding, but there's not enough funding. And the projects have to be put in place to make sure that it happens for the benefit of our community, our children, our grandchildren, and those who come to Imperial Beach in the future. But Mayor Dedina will always be remembered as the knight in shining armor who led this process for not only this community, but all the communities that banded together to support the effort. I want to say a few words of thanks to Dan Malcolm. Dan Malcolm has been our Port Commissioner for the same 12-year period that I've been on the City Council, and he's been a fighter for Imperial Beach and a leader on the port to make sure that Imperial Beach gets what it legitimately deserves as probably the least resourced, lowest income, bless you, community in the ports, amongst the port cities. And we will continue to work with you and see this relationship continue. That's another legacy, I think, to the next City Council, is that great relationship with the port. I want to thank former council members that helped me learn how to be a council member and that I served with and that did quite a bit for our city. I can't name everyone, but I want to, specifically mention Bobby Patton, Lori Bragg, and Patrick Bilbray as council members who stand out in my memory as making contributions to our community. And I can't stop without saying something about Diane Rose. Diane Rose it didn't pop out of the bushes in the estuary, but did she ever serve as a mentor, an encourager, and a guide, not only about what the city council is about, but in terms of service, but also how to campaign. Her knowledge of the community is tremendous, and I learned a great deal from former Mayor Diane Rose. So thank you very much for everything you gave to this city during your time period, and for the honor of trying to fill your shoes and succeed you on the city council and keep things moving forward. I have to say that this community is, you've heard it before, is blessed by having great city staff, led by our outstanding city manager, Andy Hall. But Andy Hall is one person. He's the CEO, but no CEO can do it all. It takes a team, and this community is blessed with having one of the greatest staffs I have ever seen in terms of dedication, doing so many things with so few of them, and working with the city council, taking all of the stuff we throw at them and turning it into fine jewelry. I want to specifically mention some names here, including former city manager Gary Brown. Gary, are you here? No, he's not. But Gary was my first city manager for the first 4 years I served about, and I learned a lot from Gary. But I also want to say that Tyler Foltz, Eric Minichilli, Chris Helmer, Joanne Gitmead, Jackie Kelly, Sunam Caballo, Erica Cortez, are all senior members, important members of the team, and they deserve to be named as I make my last statement as a city councilman, in terms of my being grateful for their service and their support and their hard work and their dedication. And these are department heads. There are staff members that work in these departments. They couldn't do, the people I named, couldn't do their job without the staff members that report to them. And it's important that we recognize that as a community, that our city government is founded, the foundation of it is the city staff. Council members come and go, mayors come and go, great as they are, but the staff is what makes it happen, and they implement everything. I'm going to close by saying I take most pride in our accomplishments as a council, present and past. Some of these have been mentioned. The struggle, and some of these things have been struggles to get the Pier South Hotel, which my generation of council members 12 years ago took over from Diane's generation. And later, slightly later, the Breakwater Shopping Center project. Both of these took very strong action by the city council and the city government, including legal work, et cetera, in order to make them happen. There were lots of obstacles that we had to overcome. Similarly, with the challenges we face with cross-border pollution. I want to commend, I admire and commend the courage of our council in taking on, not seeing anything as being too big or too challenging. The lawsuit that was mentioned against the federal government is one thing. We also sued big oil and the major greenhouse gas emitters, along with many other communities and counties in the state of California and throughout the country. It also took a lot of guts for us to pass the cannabis ordinance because there was considerable vocal opposition to that, even though more than 60% of IB citizens voted in favor of legalization, and 80% at our workshops supported City Council taking this under our control rather than leaving it to the black market or the general market to determine our destiny. So I think we'll all agree that we have a pretty good result coming out of that. There's many more highlights I could mention, but I'd like to talk a little bit about, just quickly, about my new role. It's been mentioned. I'll be moving from vice chair to chair of the UCSD Black Alumni Scholarship Fund. My goal is to grow it from about 150 scholarship recipients that are on the campus at all levels today to somewhere between around 500 over the next 3 years. It's very ambitious, but my intention is to apply all of my energy and skills and what I've learned to making that happen and to make it sustainable over a long period of time. Ultimately, the university up to now has not done much for diversity as far as African Americans. It's been about 2 to 3% of the population. We want to see that get to 5%, and we want to see those graduates who will be top people in all the different fields, science, government, everything. We want to see them benefit this entire San Diego community. And we see that as the role for the university, that it could fulfill better. Speaking of the UCSD, the mayor and I are both graduates of UC San Diego, and the incoming mayor got her master's degree at UC San Diego. So somehow we need to incorporate more Triton thinking or Triton skills, etc., officially, which leads me to recognize a very important person in this room, Dr. Joseph Watson. Raise your hand, Joe. Dr. Joseph Watson is on the board of the scholarship program. He was the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and served in many senior leadership positions at the university for many years. It is Joe Watson who hired me as his Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs 23 years ago, which brought me from the Foreign Service working abroad back to my home area, San Diego, and to this community because we put our daughter into Marian Catholic High School. And that's where this all really began. Sorry, Diane. That is really where it began. And I'm so grateful to you, Joe, for all those years of working with you and for your faith in me. I also finally want to put more time into co-chairing the Seacoasters. Many of you may have heard of Seacoasters, many of you haven't, but for about 11 or 12 years now, the Seacoasters have been a loose community, a group of community-interested people in the balanced development of the Seacoast Drive commercial zone. And we have held at least 1 or 2 meetings every year in collaboration with the port and the city government to bring people together and bring the best ideas together about how this jewel in our community can be most appropriately developed for the benefit of our community and for our businesses and for the visitors to Imperial Beach. So I plan to become more involved in that. I hope we can meet more frequently and that we can bring to bear the best ideas from the brilliant people in this community on how to move forward with that part of our great potential that's still to be fulfilled to a greater degree than we have already. So with that, I guess I should just close by saying thank you. It's been an honor to serve. It's been a real honor to be here and to hear all that's been said. And I have to, again, thank my fellow council members for the opportunity to serve with them and for the ability to get things done for this community. It could never have happened without a collaborative city council and a mayor who is ready, willing, and able to lead. So thank you all very much.
We'd also like to invite Mayor Dedina up to say some closing remarks.
So I won't out-tout Ed. I did have a 25-page summation, footnotes. It may be on the web, but anyway, I'm going to get right to the point. First, the most important people here: my amazing wife Emily, and yeah, I'm going to thank Emily. My son Daniel's here. We're going to go see his brother and my other oldest son in Denver on Sunday, so we won't be here next week to see Paloma and Mitch and Carol take the oath of office. It's really important to support our new mayor and our 2 new council members. Can we give them a round of applause? There's nothing more important than our constitutional democracy. Every vote does count. We counted every vote, so now we have new council members, and we need to support them 100%. So I'm really pleased with our clean and fair elections, and we accept the winners, and the folks, we move on, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. And as someone whose parents came escaping tyranny in Europe, we revered American democracy in our family, and I really thank my dad and mom for that. So anyway, Terry Fenner and Trace Funderburg. Terry and I, raise your hand, Terry, have been friends since 1971. We started 2nd grade together at Berry School. I grew up on the east side of IB. Terry's just across the street in San Diego, but that's okay. We went all the way through elementary school and college together, and we're still friends, and I really appreciate her and Trace's support and your parents' support. And that's really about what being mayor in a small town you grew up in is about. It's really about family and friends, right? And I want to thank all the council members, Ed, Paloma, Matthew, and Jack. Right, it's a championship team. It's an awesome team. And Jack, we talked on Saturday, and he said something really important. I think it's important for our new council members. We're not supposed to always agree. We shouldn't always agree, right? We should always figure out where we find common ground and how we can get things done. That's the spirit of our democracy. That's what makes our country great. Who cares about what we don't agree on? We're Americans. Let's find things that we find common ground on. We always found common ground. The politics never came in on the table. There was never blue and red, all that. I hate that stuff. It was always about what's good for our city, and everybody listened to each other. I really appreciate it. And Ed would, I drove Ed crazy and, whatever, but, and I say with all due respect, because I always know, we told you this, you always had our back, always. Ed never flinched, right? And neither did any of our council members, nor did our council members Pat Bilbray, Lori Bragg, Mark West, and Bobby Patton. It was always about service, selfless service first. And so I'm just going to try to tell a circular story and to wrap this up, but lots of cool things happened recently. And Diane, I saw you at the gas station. We do politics in the street in IB. I learned that from Brian. Brian's not here. I watched intently the way that Mayor Brian Bilbray did politics. It was politics in the street, in La Calle. Brian, so I'm sorry, dude. I followed. I modeled in the street, in your face, IB mayor right after Brian Bilbray. Maybe different issues, but dude, I watched him intently. But Diane, I also watched Mike Bixler, who was a really good mayor and helped redevelop our beachfront and our port. In fact, the first person I talked to about running for mayor was Mike when he was port commissioner. And the first person I think I talked to right after I got elected, and Diane said, you gave me some really good advice. You said, you can't meet, you're not going to be able to make every meeting. It was funny, it was an odd comment, but then we saw each other last week at the gas station, and I said, Diane, I really thought about what you said, because it was true. You try to make everything, you can't please everybody, but that's life as a small town mayor, right? And so some things came together in the last really 48 hours that really connect everything. So here we are to inaugurate some new additions to the pier, thanks to our amazing Port Commissioner, Dan Malcolm. But I happened to talk to Jason Lindquist, our lifeguard captain. Tragic loss of life, heroic rescues and good Samaritans, literally in their boxers, saving people's lives, but people drowning. And Jason and I and the lifeguard share a bond, because I was a lifeguard, and I had to deal with those situations as well, death and almost death, people sinking to the bottom immediately. It's something it's seared in my memory, that happening to migrants on the border fence, which has happened recently, or just off the pier when someone sank like a stone, and I did CPR and saved them. But I'll never forget it, and that's exactly what happened in here. I thank Jason. Walked over to the pier, had Matthew and Paloma and Andy, our city staff, our lifeguards, harbor police, our great port staff, Commissioner Dan Malcolm. Again, team leader, right? And with Dan, it's always about getting the work done. With the port, it's always about the work. It was never politics. It was always about how can we make things better, right? Leave this amazing, we had a great event about making the pier better, brilliant stuff. The port's been really good, along with our city, is simple things that actually make people happy. Mike and Diane helped build this pier, right, in this pier plaza. It's a brilliant, and the port, along with the port, Frank Ertassen, our port commissioner. It's brilliant because it makes people happy. It spreads joy and happiness, so thank you. And we're going to see more additions to the pier. They're going to be beautiful with art, with surf art and ocean art. Really cool stuff. Thank you, Dan, for that. And we've really shared. Dan and I was always about our kids and family first, right? And that was it. It was always about kids and family first, and I always appreciated that. Go to the Coronado pool to work out. I know Mayor Bailey always knows he can see me there. He would run. I think apparently I swim better than you, but I don't do Ironmans, and he runs way better than me, so it's all good, But then I saw Gunnar Granquist, who I grew up with, who was a retired San Diego lifeguard. I grew up in IB on Citrus. And Gunnar and I immediately started talking about what Jason and our lifeguards went through. He's been there. Gunner's made hundreds, if not thousands, of rescues. He worked in IB and then the Strand, and then went on to a career as a lifeguard. But we talked about the importance of teaching kids to swim. And Gunnar had been at the swimming program when it was run out of the Mar Vista pool. And when he said, every fourth and sixth grader in South Bay Union School District got free swimming lessons for 2 weeks. I know that because I'm the one that taught them. And what he said was, and I think this is important about what we've done here, he said we'd get those kids, and the most important kid were the ones who couldn't even blow bubbles, right? And we had a strategic program to make sure that after 2 weeks they were water safe so they could go enjoy the beach. That they wouldn't drown. And to me, we're going to bring that back, right? We brought back the pool. One of the last things we've done, thank you. But for me, what it symbolized, and I think just the pool, the library, Parks and Rec, I just keep going through the list, murals, et cetera, was a commitment to help every corner of our city, every family in our city. Everyone counts, everyone matters. It's really, really important stuff. And then today I saw Gary Benelli, the former port commissioner from Coronado, swimming, of course, we all swim. And it brought back, Mayor Bailey and former Supervisor Cox are here. Probably the funnest and most impactful professional moment of my life as mayor was at the Eisenhower Room or wing at the White House. And it was just an all-star team. Again, Supervisor Cox, amazing, magisterial, running this meeting at the White House. Mayor Bailey was absolutely on point, on target. Kevin Faulkner was just fantastic. And then Gary Benelli was like Captain America, right? Former Naval SEAL commander, talking about clean water, right? Absolutely amazing. And I really appreciate that. So it was just great to see Gary yesterday, right? No, it was actually today, sorry. And then finally, I just ran into Tom Sudbury, and Estine's here. I talked to Estine today, and I ran into Tom Sudbury just on the street somewhere recently, like the last week or so. And I thanked him for all his great work, and Estine and I from Sudbury talked. And we had an image, and I raised this. for that night in Palm Shopping Center, and this is what it's all about. There was a problem. They ran into, it was a giant hole in the ground, and there was an old fuel depot. Like it was thousands of gallons, Andy, right? We're all looking down it, like hard hats and going, what do we do? Well, it was problem by problem, step by step, focused on moving IB forward, right? And politics never got in the way. And I want to thank everybody here, especially our amazing city staff and all the partners that are here, whether it's Pastor John at the Neighborhood Center, my jefa, Doña Josefina Hamada, Doña Josie Hamada, my boss. Yeah, if you don't know Josie, he'd call me up about every other day or every day and tell me what to do. But it was just like fixing that tire. It was like, all right, pull the bungee cords out, pull the straps out, start digging a hole, and get to work. And that's the approach in IB. We don't have anything, but we have a lot of grit, we have a lot of determination, and we're proud of who we are. And it couldn't have been possible without our amazing city manager. Can we give him a round of applause? You know, we have an amazing executive team. Joanne in finances, perfect finances. Our city clerk, Jackie, city attorney, Jennifer, Erica, Tyler. We have Eric, our public works director, Chris Helmer, our natural resources. I can go on and on. It's an A team. They're focused. And what we all talked about is the more we do, the more we learn, the more we grow, the more we get to do. And IB is a significantly safer, more secure place because it was a team effort. And I am just grateful that we had the opportunity to serve and make a difference. And I'm thankful for all of you for, this is the most important thing, spreading joy and happiness and making life better and making sure we can do things that are free and help foster a better community and safer families and again, joy and happiness. So thank you very much, and thanks to all of you. Appreciate it.
On behalf of city staff and the city council, we want to thank everybody for their attendance this evening. Just a couple announcements. December 14th, we're having the oath of office ceremony at Nova Brazil. It's 535 Florence Street at 6 p.m. All are invited. And then right after this meeting, we want to invite Mayor Dedina and our former Mayor Dedina and our former Councilman Ed Spriggs to head to the lobby for a cake cutting and refreshments for all of us to enjoy. That being said, one last time, Mayor. Meeting adjourned.